You know, life is nothing but illusions. And those illusions are up to us to decipher and discern what is the truth, yo. Ladies and gentlemen, the world stage is being set, the beast system is in play, and the optics are high. And that is the truth, yo. I'm Snafu Snaps, you guys are the Snafu crew, the glue, each and every one of you. And remember, the optics will continue to ramp. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the world has witnessed another ritual. Now remember, 9/11, the Twin Towers, was one of the biggest rituals. We're going to go into that. But with the Jake Paul Tyson fight, the humiliation ritual was before us. We've seen John Cena, The Rock, many others involved in these humiliation rituals. A transition of powers is in play, and we are about to see another event, 9/11-esque, probably more than people can comprehend. Now again, in these rituals, they have to tell you the optics before they go and play. And again, ladies and gentlemen, we are witnessing prophecy being fulfilled at the highest rate. We are witnessing a beast system being put in play, a police state world, NWO, I used to say minus Hulk Hogan, but they brought his bitch ass in with vax your ass Trump. Again, the optics are high. I'm Snafu Snaps. If you want to help me, hit the PayPal Snafu Snaps or Snafu Snap 007 Cash App. But most of all, keep being you, the crew, the glue. Let's get into some optics. Much love.
Oh, I'm feeling beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
What's your prediction?
Vicious win.
Vicious win. Thank you, Dad.
Love you.
Love you too.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, as we witnessed right there, the Mike Tyson humiliation rituals. Now, as we know, Jake Paul and other celebrities, all of them involved in the ritualistic nature that we're witnessing. Now, does this remind you Skull and Bones, right? Kind of like George Bush and all the other presidents. Interesting optics, right? Also, during the night of the fight, the Pentagon fell 7th audit in row, but says progress made. So you look at some of the optics during the time of these. Also, there was a supermoon during the time of this fight. Okay? Well, anyways, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at the optics of nuclear war and what's happening. Sometimes they have to tell you before it goes down.
Why is he manufactured and why are you for real?
Yeah, that's what I said. That's what I said.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you can expand on it. I mean, can you give me...
It's just what I said.
It's just that, all right. That's cool.
Whatever he wants to think, you know, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but the deadliest weapon on the planet is manufactured, and that's a nuke.
So last night, after, a day ago, 2 days ago, we finally heard that the president had given Ukraine the go-ahead to use these U.S. long-range missiles at Russia. Ukrainian troops launched an attack against a Russian border region with 6 U.S. long-range missiles. This comes after, again, Putin approved the updated doctrine lowering the threshold for the use of nuclear weapons. How many times has this guy given us a red line and said, don't cross this? or it will be World War III. And we've crossed it every single time. For a man who's backed in the corner, a man who is a bloodthirsty killer, you don't keep backing him into a corner. Or what happens? Eventually, he says, I'll have absolutely no credibility, and his people who have just been bombed with U.S. missiles, which he just said 2 days ago, will be an act of war, has got to say, you know what? The worst thing I can do is not act because I'll lose all credibility in my own country and throughout the rest of the world. We have entered a moment of madness. What Joe Biden did is impeachable. Who launches 62 days before you're out of the office? Who starts World War III? By the way, there's a couple of other things you should know. This isn't the only thing going on. There's been a couple of other things. First of all, they cut some telecommunication cables. Who? We don't know, but we suspect the Chinese. The Chinese ship Yi Peng is the main suspect in an investigation now on who cut 2 undersea telecom cables between Finland and Germany. Why would you cut cables between Finland and Germany? Well, if you're going to restore the Soviet Empire, Finland was part of that Soviet Empire. They've been the ones saying, please stop all this madness. That was cut. Oh, also the telecommunications lines between Sweden and Lithuania. Sweden was an allied. Lithuania was an Axis. Lithuania was under Soviet rule as well. The ship sailed right over the cables when they were cut 8 a.m. on Sunday and 2 a.m. on Monday. Gang, things could be different by lunchtime. Pray for your country. Pray that Vladimir Putin does not strike a NATO country, even with a conventional bomb. Pray that this madman will listen to Donald Trump and realize this is over in 62 days. But then again, the guy wants to collapse the United States of America. As I told you, if Trump wins, one of the things I'm very worried about is terrorism and war. That the left is so insane that they have this, if I can't have you, no one will. That they've been backed into a corner. They have everything riding on it. They've got to bring it down before Trump gets in. It was the worst case scenario. Pray the bloodthirsty madman in Russia is more sensible than this senile old bastard in the White House.
The Soviet Union will be pleased to offer amnesty to your wayward vassal.
The Soviet Union? I thought you guys broke up.
Yes, that's what we wanted you to think.
Must crush capitalism.
It means without the rule of law, anarchy, the end of civilization, coming soon to an America near you.
America can't collapse. We're as powerful as ancient Rome.
Homer, meet the Springfield Preppers. What would you do in the case of an EMP?
Electromagnetic pulse.
A burst of radiation that knocks out every electrical system in the country.
Impending doom.
What you reading, Dad?
Honey, everything's fine. There's nothing to worry about.
When things go south, the sheeple will clean out every supermarket in town.
Typical sheeple. So, what have you learned so far from our post-apocalyptic movie marathon?
Guys who call themselves preacher or deacon are very bad. Water is money, unless gasoline is money, and even though lots of things are razor sharp, no one ever shaves.
Hollywood has taught you well, my son.
Here it is, Homer. The Springfield Preppers' top-secret bug-out retreat.
Wow! Your end of the world is better than my during the world!
Homer, we all know America's collapse is about 3 months away.
6 weeks at most.
There's always one alarmist. Anyway, when the 4 horsemen ride, we want you and your collaterals right here with us.
Hidden all our supplies behind a fake wall.
I thought the basement looked cleaner.
See? These are our bug-out bags. In here, it's everything we need to survive.
Survive what?
The looming kablooey.
It's reassuring to see you're aware of the future, but this is all a little creepy.
Creepy? Marge, the apocalypse is coming. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe never. But it's coming. And soon.
I'm going to bed.
An EMP?
You know what that means?
Hand scissors.
Look, you can have potato chips now, or if you wait 10 minutes, you can have all the brains you can eat.
I want both!
Добрый день, прошу вас. Добрый день, уважаемые коллеги. Мы с вами проводим сегодня плановое мероприятие. Это совещание так и называется. Постоянное совещание по ядерному сдерживанию. 2 раза в год оно проводится. И в сегодняшней повестке дня у нас вопрос, связанные с обновлением основ государственной политики в области ядерного сдерживания. Наряду с военной доктриной это документ, в котором официально определена и детализирована ядерная стратегия России. Прежде всего зафиксирован базовый принцип применения ядерного оружия, а именно использование ядерных сил – это крайняя мера защиты суверенитета страны. Подчеркну, мы всегда в высшей степени ответственно подходили к таким вопросам. Хорошо сознавая, какой колоссальной силой обладает это оружие, стремились укрепить международно-правовую базу глобальной стабильности, не допустить расползания ядерных вооружений и их компонентов. Сегодня ядерная триада остается важнейшей гарантией обеспечения безопасности нашего государства и граждан, инструментом поддержания стратегического паритета и баланса сил в мире. Вместе с тем, мы видим, что современная военно-политическая обстановка динамично меняется, и мы обязаны это учитывать, в том числе возникновение новых источников военных угроз и рисков для России и наших союзников. Важно прогнозировать развитие ситуации и, соответственно, адаптировать положение документа стратегического планирования к нынешним реалиям. За последний год специалисты Министерства обороны, Министерства иностранных дел, аппарата Совета Безопасности и других ведомств провели глубокий всесторонний анализ, оценили необходимость корректировки наших подходов к возможному использованию ядерных сил. По результатам этой работы предложено внести ряд уточнений в части определения условий применения ядерного оружия. Так, в проекте основ расширена категория государств и военных союзов, в отношении которых проводится ядерное сдерживание. Дополнен перечень военных угроз, для нейтрализации которых выполняются мероприятия ядерного сдерживания. На что еще особо хотел бы обратить ваше внимание. В обновленной редакции документа агрессию против России со стороны любого неядерного государства, но с участием или при поддержке ядерного государства предлагается рассматривать как их совместное нападение на Российскую Федерацию. Также четко фиксируются условия перехода России к применению ядерного оружия. Будем рассматривать такую возможность уже при получении достоверной информации о массированном старте средств воздушно-космического нападения и пересечении ими нашей государственной границы. Имея в виду самолеты стратегической или тактической авиации, крылатые ракеты, беспилотники, гиперзвуковые и другие летательные аппараты. Оставляем за собой право применить ядерное оружие в случае агрессии против России и Белоруссии, как участника союзного государства. С белорусской стороной, с президентом Беларуси все эти вопросы согласованы. В том числе, если противник, используя обычное оружие, создает критическую угрозу нашему суверенитету. В завершение отмечу, что все уточнения являются глубоко выверенными и соразмерными современным военным угрозам и рискам в отношении Российской Федерации. Давайте приступим к работе. Слово министру обороны Андрею Арамовичу Белоусову.
Now, like I said, 9/11 was a ritual in itself. Just like when Monograph does his fantasy of rape and kidnapping on children and all the weird shit that goes on. But the fact is these ritualistic fucktards, as we say, put it in your face. Listen very closely. Y'all remember the footage with President Bush? And listen to what the teacher is saying. Still planes, kite. Just listen, very odd optics. And again, just like Jake Paul said, he's a nuke. Is there more messaging that they have to always tell you before things happen. The optics are high.
Yes, kid. Boys and girls, sound this word out. Get ready. What word? Steel. Yes, steel. Read these words the fast way. Get ready. Plane. Yes, plane. Get ready. Must. Yes, must. Let's read these words the fast way without making a mistake. Get ready. Kite. Yes, kite. Get ready. Kit. Yes, kit. Get ready. Steel. Yes, steel. Get ready. Plane. Yes, plane. Get ready. Must. Yes, must. Boys and girls, pick your reader up from under your seat. Open your book up to lesson 60 on page 153.
The First World War must be brought about in order to permit the Illuminati to overthrow the power of the czars in Russia and of making that country a fortress of atheistic communism. The divergences caused by the agents of the Illuminati between the British and German empires will be used to foment this war. At the end of the war, communism will be built and used in order to destroy the other governments and in order to weaken the religions. He says, quote, the Second World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences between the fascists and the political Zionists. This war must be brought about so that Nazism is destroyed and that the political Zionism will be strong enough to institute a sovereign state of Israel in Palestine. During the Second World War, international communism must become strong enough in order to balance Christendom, which would then be restrained and held in check until the time when we would need it for the final social cataclysm. Not only one world war and two world wars, but here comes the Third World War. He says, and I quote, the Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused by the agents of the Illuminati between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. Yeah, that's what he says. The war, this was 1925. Please understand that. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam, the Muslim Arabic world, and political Zionism, the State of Israel, mutually destroy each other. That's what it says. Meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided on this issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economic exhaustion. We shall unleash the nihilists and the atheists, and we shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm in which, in all its horror, will show clearly to the nations the effect of absolute atheism, origin and savagery, and of the most bloody turmoil. Then, he says, everywhere the citizens obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries will exterminate those destroyers of civilization and the multitude, disillusioned with Christianity, whose deistic spirits will, from that moment, be without compass or direction, anxious for an ideal, but without knowledge where to render its adoration, will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people.
Once consciously experienced, the mysteries of ritual leave an indelible mark. The performance of ritual is one of the most human of all qualities that we possess, and yet appears to act as a form of communication for something beyond our conscious perception as earthly beings. Beyond any otherworldly implications that may exist, evidence of ritual, as it pertains to major world events, often lends credence to a hidden dimension embedded within our collective reality. Oftentimes, it seems, the surface seldom matches that which lurks beneath. Welcome to the Reality Sideshow. Few events in the history of human civilization have captured the hearts and minds of people around the world as much as the attacks that took place on September 11th, 2001 in the United States of America. On the surface, broader society is told that Osama bin Laden, a former Mujahideen fighter allegedly funded by the CIA, orchestrated an unprecedented attack against the United States. Bin Laden is said to have recruited 19 men, who would subsequently go on to hijack multiple airliners on the morning of September 11th, 2001. These men are then said to have flown the hijacked aircraft into iconic American buildings. This official version of events is said to have launched the global war on terror. The veracity of the official version of events has been debated for decades. Several theories have been proffered, and to this day, society still remains with more questions than answers regarding the truth of what occurred on the morning of September 11th, 2001. Across many pockets of society, this event is now simply referred to as 9/11. This bears an obvious connotation and correlation with the Universal Emergency Response Number in the United States, 911. The National Emergency Number Association provides the details regarding how the emergency number 911 came to fruition. In November 1967, the FCC met with the American Telephone and Telegraph Company, AT&T, to find a means of establishing a universal emergency number that could be implemented quickly. In 1968, AT&T announced that it would establish the digits 911 as the emergency code throughout the United States. This establishment of a universal emergency number appears to have been an important first step in subconsciously programming the minds of those viewing the attacks on the morning of September 11th, 2001. in order to create a deep-rooted sense of emergency and call to action. This is but one aspect of a state-reinforcing ritual. In 1968, the United States would officially have the emergency number 911 established as the universal code for reporting an emergency via telephone. This same year, the Twin Towers would officially begin their construction. From the time the emergency phone number 911 was established, along with the construction of the Twin Towers in 1968, up until the World Trade Center towers came down in 2001, is a difference of 33 years. The 33rd degree is said to be the highest attainable degree in the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. The connection between the events that unfolded on the morning of September 11, 2001, and the esoteric dogma of Freemasonry will become apparent as this documentary progresses. The groundbreaking construction of the original World Trade Center was spearheaded by David Rockefeller. A New York Times article from 2017 provides the details on just how influential the Rockefeller family was regarding the construction of the original World Trade Center towers. David and Nelson were not just the names of two Rockefeller brothers. They were the names of the Twin Towers at the World Trade Center. More accurately, they were names given to the towers. David, because David Rockefeller, as chairman of the downtown Lower Manhattan Association, originated the idea. Nelson, because Governor Nelson A. Rockefeller of New York signed the legislation that made it possible. One brother came up with the idea, and the other brother just happened to be the governor in place to sign the legislation that made it possible to build the original World Trade Center. When dealing with the Rockefeller family, there is an inevitable aura and connotation of globalism and internationalism. John D. Rockefeller donated the land on which the United Nations headquarters stands in New York City. Oddly enough, the book Rockefeller Internationalist, The Man Who Misrules the World, written by Emmanuel M. Josephson, mentions AT&T as one of the monopolies that the Rockefeller family controls. That's the same AT&T that helped develop the universal 911 emergency phone number for all American citizens. A direct quote from David Rockefeller's memoirs can help illustrate the point regarding the Rockefeller family and their seemingly never-ending conquest for world domination on behalf of a global and criminal cabal. For more than a century, ideological extremists at either end of the political spectrum have seized upon well-publicized incidents, such as my encounter with Castro, to attack the Rockefeller family for the inordinate influence they claim we wield over American political and economic institutions. Some even believe we are part of a secret cabal working against the best interests of the United States, characterizing my family and me as internationalists and of conspiring with others around the world to build a more integrated global political and economic structure. One world, if you will. If that's the charge, I stand guilty, and I am proud of it. Predictive programming is a phenomenon which has been identified by several conspiracy researchers. This theory suggests that through the use of mass media, the planned future is presented to society in the form of entertainment by those whom society perceives to hold power. It is believed that by unveiling the planned future in various forms of mass media, society will become conditioned to accept future events more readily and easily, thus offering a more obsequious transition period to the next stage in a global conspiracy ultimately aimed at enslaving humanity. Alternative theories to predictive programming also suggest that this phenomenon acts more like a projection apparatus by introducing ideas and concepts of events into the mass consciousness through entertainment. These events will be more likely to manifest in our reality. This latter theory regarding predictive programming is similar to a concept which science fiction writer Philip K. Dick discussed in his Exegesis. My novels, for example, they are said by readers to depict the same world again and again, a recognizable world. Where is that world? In my head? Is it what I see in my own life and inadvertently transfer into my novels, into the reader? This brings me to my frightening premise. I seem to be living in my own novels more and more. It's too much for me. Like an astrophysicist, who by studying a black hole causes it to change, I seem to alter my environment by thinking about it. Maybe by writing about it and getting other people to read my writing, I change reality by their reading it and expecting it to be like my books. Books such as 1984, written by George Orwell, and Brave New World, written by Aldous Huxley, certainly come to mind when considering Philip K. Dick's assertion that novels, and entertainment in general, are in some way responsible for creating our collective reality. Were these aforementioned books warnings to future generations of humanity, or something far more sinister? The image that is shown here was taken from the magazine Newsweek in 1967. In this magazine, the viewer is shown on the front cover a picture of David Rockefeller sitting on a window ledge. Oddly, the hands on Rockefeller's watch appear to read the time as 8:55. When reading an analog clock's time as 8:55, we can see that the hands are on the number 9, followed by the number 11. On the back cover of this particular issue of Newsweek, the viewer can also see that there is a cigarette advertisement. Two people, a man and a woman, are wearing sweatshirts that resemble the Twin Towers. Cigarettes are designed to be burned and destroyed, much like the Twin Towers would be on September 11th, 2001. The original World Trade Center towers would go on to be built just over David Rockefeller's left shoulder, where the back cover Tareyton cigarette ad alludes to them being placed. The image pictured here is an album cover from singer Michael Jackson, which is aptly titled Blood on the Dance Floor. History in the Mix. This album was released in 1997. Michael Jackson is standing on one of the most recognizable Masonic symbols, the checkerboard floor, said to represent the fundamental nature of duality. This concept can be found throughout many religions and philosophies around the world. This same checkered pattern can also be found in many examples of mainstream media and entertainment. Adding yet another layer of intrigue, Michael Jackson's arms appear to be pointing to the numbers 9 and 11, as they would read on an analog clock. At the top right of the album cover, there is a crescent moon, similar to the moon shape used to symbolize the religion of Islam. Michael Jackson is dressed in all red, ostensibly to celebrate the coming blood sacrifice. In the background, we can see there is a cloud of smoke, similar to when the towers of the World Trade Center fell on September 11th, 2001. Side-by-side images of New York City in the album cover indeed verify that the album cover is depicting New York City. In the movie The Matrix, which was released in 1999, the protagonist, Neo, is provided with a storyline in which his passport expires on September 11th, 2001. Perhaps this is a coincidence. However, given the subject matter of the movie, this appears to be more of a deep metaphor, suggesting that September 11th, 2001 will mark the expiration of those who reside within the confines of the Matrix. Eerily, one of the most compelling stories following the aftermath of the events on September 11th, 2001 was the recovery of 4 virtually indestructible passports said to belong to the alleged hijackers. The planet Saturn has long been a symbol for the material reality which we inhabit as human beings. In Gnostic texts discovered near Nag Hammadi, Yaldabaoth was written into our collective mythos as the demiurge, responsible for the creation of the material realm in which we, as human beings, currently reside. Yaldabaoth was later identified by the ancient Romans as the god Saturn. According to astronomers at NASA, Saturn is contained within 7 primary rings. Oddly enough, the original World Trade Center consisted of 7 primary buildings prior to the events of September 11th, 2001. These 7 buildings were arranged in a concentric formation, much like a ring of Saturn. One of the original architects for the World Trade Center, Minoru Yamasaki, was fascinated by Islamic architecture. Yamasaki included many elements of Islamic themes into the World Trade Center. Yamasaki even described his design of the World Trade Center Plaza as a Mecca. Mecca, located in the country of Saudi Arabia, is the holiest city in the religion of Islam and is said to be the birthplace of the Prophet Muhammad. One of the requirements for every Muslim is to visit the city of Mecca in a pilgrimage known as Hajj. This city also contains Islam's holiest and most revered shrine, known as the Kaaba. Kaaba is the Arabic word for cube. In order to successfully complete the aforementioned Hajj, Muslims must walk at least 7 times counterclockwise around the Kaaba. This again is eerily reminiscent of the 7 major rings of Saturn and the 7 original World Trade Center buildings. Saturn is said by some conspiracy researchers to take the symbolic form of a black cube. The black cube appears to allude to Saturn's supposed nature in astrology as a symbol for the material world. The cube could be seen to represent the perceived walls and boundaries of human consciousness, and the color black could be viewed as an identical symbol, denoting humanity's perceived inability to grasp the gnosis of illumination, forever trapped in perpetual spiritual darkness and bound to a material existence while residing in this reality as a human being. The cube, as a symbol for Saturn, is given more credence when we examine images taken from the North Pole of the planet Saturn. Astronomers have noted that a perpetual storm in the shape of a hexagon is spinning counterclockwise at Saturn's North Pole. In geometry, a cube is a 3-dimensional solid object, bounded by 6 square faces, facets, or sides, with 3 meeting at each vertex. However, viewed from a corner, it is a hexagon. Pictured here are examples of black cubes found across the world. The black cube is not only found in the religion of Islam. Judaism and some Masonic traditions also utilize the black cube symbol. In Judaism, the tefillin are black cubes said to be worn to serve as a reminder of God's intervention at the time of the Exodus from Egypt. In Freemasonry, the black cube is said to be used as a symbol of rejection from the fraternity and mysteries of Freemasonry during an initiate's candidacy. The Satanic Church has also installed a black cube monument as a memorial to honor veterans. We can find examples of cube symbolism used in film as well. The recurring Star Trek villains, the Borg, utilize a spacecraft designed in the shape of a cube. In the Avengers film series, the Tesseract, also known as the Cube, is a crystalline cube-shaped containment vessel for the Space Stone, one of the 6 Infinity Stones that predate the universe and possesses unlimited energy. In the Hellraiser franchise, the puzzle box is said to temporarily undo the boundaries between dimensions and opens an interdimensional gateway to the labyrinth. In the Transformers series, the Allspark, also known as the Cube, is a physical object of mysterious origin. A large metallic cube, it is inscribed with ornate runes and is believed to be responsible for creating and sustaining the Transformer race and the planet of Cybertron itself. The cube appears to represent an extra-dimensional concept throughout the aforementioned films. However, this extra-dimensional and esoteric concept regarding the cube not only exists in science fiction films. A very similar symbol can be found at the 9/11 Memorial in New York City, where the Twin Towers once stood. Surrounded by what also resembles the Masonic square and compass, this memorial appears to contain a black cube symbol at its center. The image displayed here is from an issue of Time magazine that was released in 1955. The cover depicts the now world-famous psychoanalyst Carl Jung. On the cover we can see that Jung is exploring the soul. A man and a woman are shown embracing one of the most recognizable symbols from the practice of alchemy, the caduceus symbol. The essence of their being, however, is beneath the surface of the water. Both the man and the woman are anchored in the depths of the water by a black cube, which hints towards the innermost, impenetrable understanding of human beings, the mysterious darkness which pervades us all here in this reality. This, as author Philip K. Dick would say, is the Black Iron Prison. The image pictured on the cover of Time magazine bears a striking resemblance to the Sephiro, or Tree of Life, from the Kabbalistic practice of Jewish mysticism. The lowest point in the Sephiro is called Malkuth. This realm is said to govern the simple fact of existence in the physical world, which the cover of the Time magazine issue also alludes to. The image pictured here is another example of cube symbolism. This image is a small portion of a series of frescoes that were painted in the Bank of America Corporate Center, located in Charlotte, North Carolina. Money is the primary tool which the global cabal utilizes to establish control over society. That being said, it's hardly a surprise that this fresco is found in one of the largest banks in the United States. Figures in all of Freemasonry. On the right side of the arch, the statue of George Washington contains a passage from a book located above his head, which reads in Latin, Exodus Acta Probate. This Latin phrase translates to, "The end justifies the deed."
I had one.
We will continue to explore the symbol of the arch and how it was ritually utilized in the events that unfolded on the morning of September 11th, 2001. But first, in order to continue our exploration, we must examine the concept of money and its role in our society and civilization. In its most fundamental state, money appears to be a form of magic. Take a look around at our world, and you will notice how everything in modern society is held together through the concept of money. Money creates order out of chaos. So many people across our world fall in line with the paradigm of money. In our global society, there is no other force at work quite like that of money. Money can create a world of pleasure or a world of pain, depending on who you are and how much or how little money you have. This thing we call money can literally be the defining line between your death and your survival in some instances. The arcane art of banking is an ancient form of mass psychological manipulation that has been passed down for millennia. The manipulative power that money has on the human mind is literally synonymous with desires such as sex and food, which are fundamental primal impulses. There is no shortage of occult practices in the upper echelons of banking. Money is in alignment with the absence of empathy due to its amoral nature. Dutch entrepreneur and financial dealer Ronald Bernard came forward in an interview he gave in 2017 with De Vrij Media about the dark underworld of elite banking. Bernard states that he was approached to join an elite cabal of bankers because he excelled in business. He was told that he would have to, quote, put his conscience in a freezer at negative 100 degrees in order to succeed in the world of elite banking. Bernard's breaking point came when he was asked to sacrifice a child in what he described as a satanic ritual. He refused to go through with this heinous act and was subsequently exiled from the banking cabal.
And as I improved my skills within the network, I got deeper into the financial world. And then it turns out the world is really small, and you keep noticing that. Everybody thinks there are opposites like good and bad guys in the world. But on the higher levels, it is just a game and they are all working together. We are talking about financing wars, creating wars, so basically creating a lot of misery in this world. So, lots of conflict. And then I think to myself, if only people knew what the world is really like. To put it carefully, most of these people followed not very mainstream religion. So, you have Catholics, Protestants, all sorts of religions. These people, most of them, were Luciferians. And then you can say, religion is a fairy tale, God doesn't exist, none of that is real. Well, for these people, it is truth and reality. And they served something immaterial, what they called Lucifer. But then at some point, I was invited, which is why I'm telling you all this, to participate in sacrifices abroad. That was the breaking point. Children.
You were asked to do that?
Yes. And I couldn't do that.
The image pictured here shows different denominations of US currency folded into what resembles a paper airplane, much like airplanes hitting the Twin Towers. The currency notes shown above were released at different intervals. Some, such as the $100 bill, were released in 1996, and others, like the $20 bill, were released in 2003. Now, what's interesting is that when you fold the bills into the shapes shown above, we get a picture of what chronologically resembles the crumbling of the World Trade Center towers. In the $5 bill, we can see what resembles the towers being built. In the $10 bill, we can see the North Tower being impacted. In the $20 bill, we can see the South Tower being impacted. In the $50 bill, we can see the collapse of the towers. In the $100 bill shows what looks to be a fountain. There has been some debate within the conspiracy research community as to whether the $100 bill represents billowing smoke or a fountain spraying water into the air. All of these bills show the Twin Towers framed by the Washington Square Arch, and this will become abundantly obvious once we examine the fountain depicted on the $100 bill. The one piece of evidence that doesn't fit the narrative quite yet is the $100 bill pictured here, framing what looks to be a water fountain. Where is this water fountain, and what ritual significance does it hold in this event? The image shown here depicts the Washington Square fountain, now framed within the Washington Square Arch, almost perfectly. According to WashingtonSquareParkBlog.com, after the events that unfolded on September 11, 2001, the Washington Square fountain was petitioned to be moved a mere 23 feet to the east so that it could sit more perfectly aligned with the Washington Square Arch. This renovation and restructuring was performed under the guidance of New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg, who appears to be but one of many willing participants in a global conspiracy to enslave humanity. What is the ritual significance of the Washington Square fountain? And why was it seen as important to move the fountain a paltry 23 feet so that it would line up with the Washington Square Arch? These questions will lead us into some rather esoteric areas that again hint towards this event being, on one level, a Masonic ritual. The image pictured here is a digital rendering of what is believed to best represent Solomon's Temple. Solomon's Temple, also known as the First Temple, was a biblical temple in Jerusalem, believed to have existed between the 10th and 6th centuries BCE. If you walk up to someone on the street and ask them how many World Trade Center buildings were destroyed on September 11th, 2001 in New York City due to a terrorist attack, many people, to this day, will tell you that 2 buildings collapsed, the North and South Tower. To their surprise, that would be incorrect. 3 buildings were destroyed that day: the North Tower, the South Tower, and World Trade Center Building Number 7. Building Number 7 was also known as the Solomon Brothers Building, because the Solomon Brothers signed a long-term lease in 1988, becoming the main tenants of World Trade Center Building Number 7. This is a video of World Trade Center Building 7 crumbling to the ground due to what we're officially told was caused by office furnishing fires.
Now, more on the latest building collapse in New York. You might have heard a few moments ago I was talking about the Salomon Brothers building collapsing. And indeed it has. It seems that this was not a result of a new attack. It was because the building had been weakened during this morning's attacks. We'll probably find out more now about that from our correspondent, Jane Stanley. Jane, what more can you tell us about the Salomon Brothers building and its collapse?
Well, only really what you already know. Details are very, very sketchy. As you can see behind me, the trade center appears to be still burning. We see these huge clouds of smoke and ash, and we know that behind that there's an empty piece of what was a very familiar New York skyline, a symbol of the financial prosperity of this city, but completely disappeared now, and New York is still unable to take on board what has happened to them today.
Presumably there were very few people in the Solomon building when it collapsed. I mean, there were, I suppose, fears of possible further collapses around the area.
That's what you would hope, because they don't really know where to turn. That's the very sad thing. I think there's going to be a lot of very, very traumatized people that has hit them very, very hard.
Jane, I think many of us, when we heard the news, perhaps on the radio earlier today, were completely flabbergasted by it and just couldn't comprehend it. I mean, it almost sounded too far-fetched. I was wondering what it felt like for you being in Manhattan. Well, unfortunately, I think we've lost the line with Jane Stanley in Manhattan.
Now, here we're going to show you a videotape of the collapse itself. Describe that. Now we go to videotape, the collapse of this building. Amazing, incredible picture word.
Too far-fetched.
For the third time today, it's reminiscent of those pictures we've all seen too much on television before, when a building was deliberately destroyed by well-placed dynamite to knock it down.
I remember getting a call from the fire department commander telling me that they were not sure they were going to be able to contain the fire. And I said, you know, we've had such terrible loss of life. Maybe the smartest thing to do is pull it. And they made that decision to pull, and then we watched the building collapse.
The symbolism becomes difficult to ignore when we consider that the Solomon Brothers building, along with two World Trade Center towers, north and south, that can be seen to represent the pillars of Solomon's Temple, another prominent symbol in Masonic lore, were destroyed on September 11th, 2001. King Solomon's Temple is a cornerstone in Masonic lore, and its construction recounts the legend of Masonic hero figure Hiram Abiff, who is presented in Masonic rituals as the chief architect of King Solomon's Temple. The website, templemountlocation.com, fills in the rest of the supporting details regarding the importance of the Washington Square Fountain and its relationship to King Solomon's Temple in Masonic ritual. Abbe, a Jewish sage of the 4th century, was quoted as saying, "If these orifices be now opened, the water rushes in from all sides, and the marble floor of the sanctuary is washed clean of the blood of the sacrifices. If it be ever so much, and thus cleansed of itself, and in the easiest manner. There can be, moreover, never a want of water in these artificially constructed tubes, as it is conducted hither from a large natural spring, which to a certainty can never dry." This potentially points to the Washington Square Fountain being used as a metaphorical symbol for washing away the blood of the sacrifice that was made on September 11th, 2001, in a grand, ritualized reenactment of the destruction of Solomon's Temple. One particularly interesting psychological phenomenon, which presents itself rather frequently in the manufactured reality of the global cabal, is what's known as duping delight. Duping delight is a facial tell that occurs when a person takes pleasure in deceiving others. The term was coined by psychologist and professor emeritus Paul Ekman, who has extensively researched the field of nonverbal communication and facial expressions. He is best known for his work on micro-expressions and facial recognition. Ekman has been a consultant for various government agencies and is considered one of the foremost experts in his field. Specifically, duping delight occurs when someone is lying or manipulating others and feels a sense of power or control over the situation. This pleasure can manifest itself in various ways, including through subtle facial expressions, body language, or vocal cues. In the following video clip, David Rockefeller can be seen chuckling when recounting the details of the September 11th attacks, which he watched from his office building in New York City that morning.
I was in my office at 30 Rockefeller Plaza, and my personal office, which is on the 56th floor, looked south. I actually was there and saw the building collapse. I actually was there and saw the building collapse. I actually was there and saw the building collapse.
Though there is no official proof, it seems almost certain that David Rockefeller was a very high-ranking Freemason. David Rockefeller is said to have passed away on March 20th, 2017. March 20th was the spring equinox, which, astrologically speaking, is a time for renewal or resurrection in the biblical sense. David Rockefeller was also claimed by Forbes magazine to be worth $3.3 billion when he died. Here we can find the number 33 yet again, which denotes the highest attainable degree that is publicly known in the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. David Rockefeller was also said to be 101 years old when he passed away on the spring equinox in 2017. The number 101 has tremendous Masonic significance in that it represents Solomon's temple, flanked by the two pillars. This number also has Masonic importance as an astrological representation, as it can be seen to represent the summer and winter solstices, which in turn represent the highest and lowest points of the sun in a calendar year. The New York Times has also reported that the estimated damage caused by the September 11, 2001 attacks was $3.3 trillion. You may be thinking to yourself that it is asinine to assume that the date and age a person has died is significant. After all, we can't just choose when we naturally die. David Rockefeller is said to have died in his sleep of congestive heart failure at his home. Given the almost supernatural synchronicity of his death falling on the spring equinox, perhaps David Rockefeller died earlier than the date we are told, or perhaps he died after the date that was made publicly available. Then again, maybe we are dealing with something at the core of the global cabal that goes beyond the human element. When all was said and done, the attacks that occurred on September 11th of 2001 claimed nearly 3,000 lives. This figure is still growing to this day due to the health impact of breathing in the toxic chemicals from the dust of the towers that were destroyed that morning. Many people have since been diagnosed with respiratory illnesses and cancers after the United States Environmental Protection Agency assured the public that the air was safe to breathe. The building that would soon go on to be erected in place of the North and South Towers is aptly named the One World Trade Center. It's no secret these days that one of the major goals for the global cabal is a one world government. The One World Trade Center is a not-so-subtle hint regarding the shift in society this criminal cabal wishes to bring about. The One World Trade Center is officially listed as being 1,776 feet tall. The number 1,776 coincides with the date of the official inception of the United States of America. The year 1776 also happens to coincide with the establishment of the Bavarian Illuminati. The Bavarian Illuminati chose the Owl of Minerva as its symbol when it was created by Adam Weishaupt and others on May 1st of 1776. Strangely, there also appears to be an owl hidden on the United States $1 bill. The owl is also the insignia and effigy used at Bohemian Grove in the cremation of care ritual performed annually by various members of the global cabal. An overhead view of the United States Capitol building, located in Washington, D.C., shows the layout of this sprawling formation also conforms to the shape of an owl. The pyramid and all-seeing eye of Providence can also be found within this structure. A mind-bending theory surrounding the One World Trade Center suggests that this building is yet another instance of predictive programming and psychological priming for the event known as the COVID-19 pandemic. The result of the COVID-19 pandemic, being declared by the World Health Organization, was the eventual introduction of a vaccine. It has been conjectured that the One World Trade Center is a symbolic depiction of a needle and syringe. The image pictured here is the design for the replacement of the World Trade Center PATH transportation line that was destroyed during the attacks on September 11th of 2001. This structure is officially said to resemble a dove that is opening its wings. However, the name of this building is the Oculus. Oculus is defined as a round or eye-like opening or design. Could this structure be a reference to the Masonic all-seeing eye of Providence? On the one-year anniversary of the attacks that occurred on September 11th, there was a ceremony held at Ground Zero where the original World Trade Center once stood. This ritual was set forth to create the shape of what looks to resemble one of the most infamous symbols in occultism, the all-seeing eye.
Being down here now, as different as it looks, I still have those visuals, those images in my mind, in my head.
We're on, as a nation, officials now.
The suicide bombers, it happens in Israel on a daily basis. Those are the things we have to be careful of now, we have to watch for now.
Do you expect suicide bombers? Plane struck the North Tower of the World Trade Center 1 year ago. Hundreds of people have gathered here at Ground Zero to mark the anniversary in what is expected to be, we tell you that the anniversary ceremony will also include several moments of silence, marking the times that the hijacked jets hit the place roses on the site for a flower arrangement that will be turned into a permanent.
Another seemingly Masonic structure that has recently been constructed near the World Trade Center is known as Water's Soul. This structure is said to be an art installation and stands 80 feet tall. Water's Soul resides in New Jersey and looks across the Hudson River to New York City, where the original World Trade Center towers once stood. This sculpture could hold a connection to Freemasonry and the ritual that took place on the morning of September 11th, 2001, through the gesture that is being displayed on the sculpture, which is known as the Masonic Vow of Silence.
Can you be specific about when you met Rockefeller, how it happened in these discussions?
I met Rockefeller through a female attorney I knew who called me up one day and said, one of the Rockefellers would like to meet you. I had made a video called Mad as Hell, and he'd seen the video and wanted to meet me and knew I was running for governor of Nevada. So sure, I'd love to meet him. And I met him and I liked him, and he was a very, very smart man. And we used to talk and share ideas and thoughts. And he's the one who told me 11 months before 9/11 ever happened that there was going to be an event. Never told me what the event was going to be. But there was going to be an event. And out of that event, we were going to invade Afghanistan to run pipelines from the Caspian Sea. We were going to invade Iraq, to take over the oil fields, establish a base in the Middle East, and make it all part of the New World Order. And we'd go after Chavez in Venezuela. And sure enough, later, 9/11 happened. And I remember he was telling me how how you're going to see soldiers looking in caves for people in Afghanistan and Pakistan and all these places. And there's going to be this war on terror, which there's no real enemy. And the whole thing is a giant hoax, but it's a way for the government to take over the American people.
He told you it was going to be a hoax.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There's no question.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Snafu Snaps. You guys are Snafu Crew. Again, if you want to help me out, hit Snafu Snaps PayPal or Snafu Snaps 007 Cash App. From the bottom of my heart, can't tell you how much it means. Most of all, keep being you, the crew, the glue. Until the next time, much love. The optics are high. Hashtag truth, yo. It's lit. Yeah, lit.
Have you ever fucking sat in your bed, fucking listening all the things that fucking you said in your head, motherfucker? Oh shit, legit fucking shit, motherfucker. My shit is fucked up with it. I'm a fucking thriller, I'm a killer on the mic, motherfucker. When you do fucking snap the crew all night, you party fucking hard, fucking doing your thing, motherfucker. Smoking dick and fucking up in the scene. I'm a killer, I'm a thriller on the mic, motherfucker. You know I'm alright. I may not be a newbie, I'm a crew, I'm a G. Fucking what about you? I'm a one prodigal son. I'm my own number one. Fucking I'm the one. Fucking filling out the world that I see. It's nothing but misery. You gotta be fucking down who you are. You gotta be the one rising fucking up. You fucking star. You gotta fucking do what you do. Fucking make it true. Fucking even though dreams don't come true, make it blue. Fucking sadness, it is madness. Fucking everywhere you don't care. You fucking demons fucking taking you over there. Take a walk fucking with me right now. Get on the right path. Fucking like Bow Wow, no doubt. They fucking sellouts. They fucking bitches. You know I even heard some of them are snitches. What? I'm the real deal. I'm the fucking thrill. Snapping snap, snapping crew is fucking real. Fucking smoking dope, fucking smoking the tree. Motherfucker pacing through, fucking always is me. What you know, what you gotta fucking feel. I'm a G, motherfucker, spin on the mic fucking till I die. Fucking and I'm always with a tear and cry. Because the life I live and fucking wanna ask why. I can't have the things that I think are happiness. I just want my life to be full of bliss.
Bliss. Just bliss.
Yeah, that's some dang.
Dang.
I just want life